Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone. We are Elite Consultancy and today we'll be diving deep into one of the world's influential conservation organisation, the World Wildlife Fund. We are here to share our insights of our case study for the course Ads460, which is Management Principle and Practices. Here is a quick look at our agenda for today. We will begin with an introduction to the WWF to establish its context. Then, we will analyze the decision-making within the organisation, followed by an examination of their leadership styles and structure. Next, we will discuss the key management trends and issues that the WWF faces in the current environment. And last but not least, the conclusion. My name is Dania as the Head of Director and I'm joined by my talented colleagues, Maisara Amani, our Senior Partner, Nur Aina as our Operation Manager and Putri Salini as our Consultant. First, let's look at their background. WWF Malaysia was established in 1972, starting as a part of the original WWF for Nature, which began in 1961. Their overarching mission is to ensure a thriving natural world for balanced human and wildlife coexistence. This is a powerful statement that guides all of their work. They focus their efforts on 7 major themes, which is forest, ocean, wildlife, food, climate, energy, and also water. Finally, they hold projects that are concentrated on both large-scale priority landscapes and cross-cutting thematic issues, ensuring their impact is comprehensive and strategic. Now, let's turn our attention to the company profile of the World Wildlife Fund, focusing on their core mission and the values that drive their work. WWF objectives are clearly defined in their mission statement, which are threefold. First, conserving the world's biggest biodiversity. Second, ensuring the use of natural resources is sustainable. And lastly, promoting the reduction of pollution and wasteful consumption. These critical missions are guided by their values in action, which can be easily remembered by the acronym CRIC. C stands for courage, R stands for respect, I stands for integrity, and the last C stands for collaborative action. Finally, let's look at the core businesses and activities that bring their missions and values to life. WWF's core business revolve around 3 main pillars of action. First, establishment of more protected areas and improvement of existing ones. Second, anti-poaching and patrol teams, including work with indigenous communities. Last but not least, influence policy to strengthen legislating and enforcement capacity. So next slide moves us from the organizational profile into the practical realities of managing a large global non-profit like WWF. We will look at the current management challenges and how applying management principles is crucial for success. The current management challenges. So you will see 3 interconnected challenges that can undermine an organization's effectiveness. First is ineffective communication and networking. This challenge can lead to a lack of coordination across different teams, regions and partners. Poor communication is often a direct contributor to the next challenge, which is poor governance. Governance refers to the system of rules and practices and also processes by which an organization is directed and controlled. When communication is poor, governance suffers, leading to inefficient processes and lack of accountability. So the last challenges we will go through is insufficient funding for work. Ultimately, poor governance and ineffective management can make the organization less appealing to donors, resulting in a persistent challenge of insufficient funding to carry out vital conservation work. These cycles show how management failures directly impact their ability to achieve their mission. Next, we move on to the importance of applying management principles. Fortunately, applying effective management principles offers solution as shown. These principles deliver 3 major benefits. The first one is enhancing stability and adaptability. Management principles provide a strong, stable framework for operation while also encouraging the organization to be flexible and adaptable to changing environmental and political landscapes. Secondly, promoting job satisfaction. Clear roles, effective communication and fair practices are key principles that directly lead to the higher job satisfaction among staff, which is critical for retaining talent and maintaining morale in high-stress conservation work.
Now, I will explain about decision-making in WWF. Decision-making is the process of selecting the best option from different choices. In WWF, it means choosing the most effective action to achieve their goals and protecting nature and wildlife. The importance of decision-making in WWF that it's help make sure authority and roles are clearly understood. This can sharpen decision, improve how they carry out action and encourage learning and growth among team members. However, WWF also faces several decision-making problems such as grant management and compliance. WWF receives many grants from different organizations and donors. They must manage the fund carefully and follow all the rules or requirements from donors. If not handled properly, it can affect their project or cause loss of trust from sponsorship. 2 is maintaining donor relation. WWF depends a lot on donor for funding, so it's important to maintaining good communication and transparency. Poor decision making in this area can cause misunderstanding or make donor lose confidence. Third is volunteer problem. WWF involve many volunteers in their project. Sometimes it's difficult to manage them effectively, especially when they're making quick decisions during fight work. or when opinions differ. 4 is funding, allocating, and tracking. WWF run many programs at the same time. They must decide how to distribute funds fairly and monitor how the money is used. Wrong decision can cause financial imbalance or delays in project progress. Next, the most suitable decision-making model that we choose is the rational model. The rational model is a step-by-step way to make smart and logical decisions based on fact instead of emotions. It helps us think clearly, analyze all possible options, and select the best solution to achieve a specific goal. This model is widely used in management because it encourages carefully planning and avoid making decisions too quick. Let me explain each step by step. First, identify the problem. The first step is to identify the problem. We need to understand clearly what the issue we are facing before we can solve it. If we identify the wrong problem, then all the next step will be not effective. This step helps us focus on the real issue, not just a surface of the symptom. 2 is identify decision. Once we know the problem, the next step is to identify the decision that needs to be made. This means setting a clear objective or goals. It helps guide us toward the kind of outcome we want to achieve through our decisions. Third is allocating weight and criteria. In this step, we list down the criteria that will help us evaluate each option. Then we assign weight or importance to each criteria depending on how relevant it is to our goal. For example, we might prioritize cost, quality, or time depending on the situation. 4 is developing alternative. Here we start to generate several possible solutions to the problem. This is where creativity and brainstorming happen. Having more alternatives give us more choices and help us find solutions that best fit the problem. 5 is analyzing alternative. Next, we analyze each alternative carefully. We look at the pros and cons of every option using the criteria that we said earlier. This helps us compare which one gives the best result and which might cause us a problem. 6 is choosing among alternatives. After analyze all the options, we then choose the best one, the solution that is most effective and realistic and beneficial for the solution. 7 is implementing the alternative. This step is about putting our decision to the action. We start to apply the chosen solution in real life and make sure everyone involved understand their roles and responsibility. 8 is evaluating decision effectiveness. Finally, after the decision has been implemented, we evaluate the result. We check whether the decision has successfully solved the problem or it's any adjustment we need for improvement. By following this model, organization and individual can make better decisions that lead to successful results. It's not about choosing quickly, but it's about choosing wisely.
Leadership in WWF means motivating and directing to achieve this mission. The leaders encourage workers and volunteers to take action, such as protecting animals and reducing pollution. WWF leaders focus on uniting people around one goal, such as caring for the environment. They work with scientists and the government to make sure everyone works together for the nature protection. Another important part of WWF leadership is a clear communication. Leaders make sure everyone understands the organization mission and goals so that the team can work together smoothly and effectively. WWF also inspires and appreciates its employees and volunteers. Leaders show gratitude and recognize their effort, which build motivation and teamwork. In conclusion, WWF uses an inspiring leadership style that focuses on teamwork and communication. The World Wildlife Fund has faced some leadership problems. One issue was the lack of local and indigenous involvement, where the local communities were not included in important decisions. Another issue was abuse and misconduct, as some of park ranger trespass an indigenous land, causing harm and damaging WWF reputation. There was also a weak supervision where leaders failed to monitor staff and ensure human rights were respected. To fix these problems, WWF worked to rebuild trust by improving communication and collaboration with the local communities. This action helps WWF become a stronger and more responsible organization that protects both people and nature. The World Wildlife Fund practices a democratic leadership style that values teamwork and shared decision making. Leaders in WWF believe that everyone's opinion matters and that collaboration leads to a better result. This leadership style creates an open and supportive environment where employees, volunteers feel respected and motivated to protect the nature.
WWF also focuses on collaboration with governments and other NGOs. By working together, they can make a greater impact in solving global environmental problems. WWF leaders involve researchers and community representatives in planning and decision-making to ensure that every project is effective and fair. They also encourage innovation and creative ideas to handle challenges such as climate changes and deforestation. A real case study that I take is a Green Space as an example to successful leadership transformation. Green Space has recently combined digital transformation to improve its campaign and impact. They train staff worldwide in digital tools and campaign management to build new skills. The organization also shifts to people-power approach for more control over campaigns. Senior leaders are involving everyone in decision-making. In conclusion, Green Space changes show how digital innovation can strengthen an organization and make it more effective in protecting the environment.
Continuing from what my teammates have shared earlier, I'll be explaining some of the key management trends, challenges, and practices that are shaping the World Wide Fund or WWF. To start, management trends refer to new approaches in leadership, strategy, and operations that guide how organizations respond to modern opportunities and challenges. They are significant because they help organizations like WWF stay innovative, adaptable, and efficient in achieving their long-term sustainability goals. One major trend influencing WWF is climate action and sustainability leadership. WWF continues to play a leading role in global efforts to fight climate change through conservation programs and advocacy. The organization partners with industries and governments to promote renewable energy, protect forests, and reduce carbon emissions. This strong leadership not only supports the planet's health, but also sets a model for other organizations to follow. Another key trend is data-driven conservation and impact measurement. WWF now uses data and technology to make smarter conservation decisions. With satellite tracking and digital monitoring tools, the organizations can measure its progress and evaluate which projects are most effective. This approach allows WWF to be transparent and evidence-based, ensuring that every action taken produces measurable results for nature and communities. Lastly is sustainable partnership and corporate collaboration. WWF recognizes that protecting the environment requires a collective action through collaboration with companies, governments, and NGOs. WWF promotes responsible business practices and green innovation. These partnerships encourage industries to minimize their environmental impact while helping WWF expand its influence globally. However, with these advancements come several challenges and risks. First, one of the biggest risks is cybersecurity and digital vulnerability. As WWF depends more on digital tools and online data, it becomes more exposed to potential cyber attacks. Protecting sensitive information such as ecological data and community record is essential to maintain credibility and public trust. Another challenge is partnership transparency and reputational risks. Since WWF works closely with many external partners, there's always a risk that unethical practices by collaborators could damage the organization's reputation. This makes transparency and strict ethical guidelines vital for every partnerships that WWF form. The third challenge is the risk of ethical misconduct and governance failure. Without strong oversight, even a small case of mismanagement can undermine public confidence. WWF must continue to strengthening its governance system to uphold integrity and ensure accountability in every operation. To overcome these challenges, WWF should apply several key practices to integrate technology and innovation responsibly. First, WWF should align technology with its core values by ensuring that all digital initiatives reflect integrity, respect, and transparency. This approach not only helps maintain public trust but also supports the organization's broader conservation mission. Second, it should also embed robust governance, privacy, and risk safeguard to protect data and manage technological risks. And this can help by developing strong policies and frameworks. WWF can ensure that innovation remains responsible and that sensitive information is well protected. Lastly, WWF should foster a culture of responsible experimentation and learning. Encouraging teams to test new ideas, learn from experiences, and adopt innovative methods can strengthen WWF adaptability and enhance its long-term impact. Overall, these trends, challenges, and practices highlight how WWF should continue to balance innovation with responsibility. By using technology wisely and staying true to the core values, WWF not only improves its conservation outcomes but also reinforces its position as a global leader in sustainability. And with that, I'll now pass it over to the next speaker for the conclusion.
In conclusion, an organization needs to apply effective management principles to avoid ineffective communication between teams, poor governance, and unsustainable funding. In addition, a good decision-making model should ensure that each role is well understood while also promoting learning and growth. This will help prevent decision-making problems such as issue in grant management, compliance, and maintaining donor relations. Meanwhile, excellent leadership can motivate team members, build trust, and strengthen international collaboration. Lastly, management trends are crucial to be applied within an organization's management team because they not only encourage innovation and adaptability but also improve organizational efficiency.